Hi there, I'm Jessica Rose. Welcome to this video on my top 10 tips on running a handmade jewellery business. Tip number 1 is to find your niche and focus on it. So it's important that we don't just tell our customers we're a jewellery designer, but we talk about the specific type of jewellery that we make and for who. Having a niche is so important for our customers to understand who we are and what we're offering. Being specific means that we can become the go-to person for that particular industry, or that sort of mini industry, that segment of our industry. An example of a niche business might be yoga hand-stamped jewellery. So making hand-stamped jewellery with slogans on and elements on that are specific to yoga. Now this means we've got a specific material, we know that we're going to be putting messages on each piece, and we're targeting a specific audience, which are people that like yoga or are interested in that type of lifestyle. It doesn't matter what your niche is, but it's important to find something specific so that our customers can really interact and engage with us. Make it impossible for them to say no. So coming up with that irresistible offer within our niche that means we are the person. As soon as that area pops into our head, we know that's who you go to. So it might be a certain style of gemstone engagement rings, or it could be a certain style of perspex jewellery. Whatever it is, think of the brands you really love and what their niche is. If you see a Tatty Divine piece of jewellery, a Tiffany's piece of jewellery, a Links of London, De Beers, you can spot them from a mile away because they've really worked hard on their branding and their niche so that we can look at it and instantly recognise where that piece is from. We want to try and get that same messaging with our jewellery business. So if at the moment you've been learning jewellery making and you've got lots of different styles, that's absolutely fine to begin with. But start work on focusing in on what ones you really like and that are really important to you. As we get rid of the fat, the areas that aren't important to us, we become more focused and more desirable in our jewellery business. My tip number 2 is to get to know your customers. So we talk a lot about getting to know your ideal customers, and there's lots of exercises that you can try to help with this. But it's so important that we know and understand what their interests are, what their desire is, and why they want to buy jewellery from us. That way we can meet them where they are, market them in the right places, and make pieces that are relevant to them and their lifestyles. If you don't know your customer yet, then start asking your current customers about themselves. Why do they come and buy jewellery from you? What other brands are they interested in? What places do they follow on Instagram? Who are they influenced by? This information is so important for you in your business because it helps to focus you on who you're speaking to. So if you're posting an Instagram post, you know the people you're speaking to. If you're doing updates on your website and writing product descriptions, again, you know who you're speaking to. You'll know from having friends and family that sometimes we speak slightly differently to different members because we understand them and we know what their interests are. We have a special relationship with them. We want that same connection with our customers. And whilst it's a little harder because there's lots of them and we don't always have them in front of us, it's still so important for us to identify the key factors that bring them together. If you don't know your ideal customer, start with yourself and build from there. You will get to know them as you move forward in your business. Tip number 3 is to set up online. So if you're not already online, make sure you get all of your social handles and website URLs sorted. Whatever country you're in, you want to make sure you've purchased the website URL for that country. So for us here in London, it's .co.uk. You also want to make sure you've got the .com for your website URL. That way, anyone who tries to search for your jewellery business will be able to find you easily. We also want to make sure you've got a Twitter handle, an Instagram handle, a Pinterest account, and a Facebook account for your jewellery business. These are going to be so important, even if you're not using them straight away, to make sure you've got them under your name so that when you do come to the stage where you're wanting to use them in your jewellery business, you're already up and running. My top tip number 4 is to know that it will take time and to make peace with that. So I often say to set up a full-time, profitable and sustainable jewellery business that can be your sole source of income takes 3 to 5 years. And this often shocks people because they think it could be done in 6 months to a year. But the problem with that thinking is that we can become very discouraged. So if after 6 months or a year's time we're not making a profit, we feel like we failed and that we haven't done the right things and that we need to move our business into something else or go back to the day job. But the truth is it does take at least 3 years for most businesses, not just jewellery businesses, to turn a profit. If you have that knowledge, then you can work around it, so that you perhaps work on your jewellery business part-time whilst having another income for the first year or 2 until you get to the stage where you've actually got enough profit to be able to leave the job that you don't enjoy doing to be able to focus on this that you do enjoy doing. Knowing that it takes time is so important for our motivation, for keeping going, and for understanding how it's going to fit in with our lifestyle. And don't be put off, as I said, any business takes time, but once you've reached that 3 or 5 year mark, going forwards, there's no reason why you won't be profitable for years and years to come. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So this is an investment in your career. My top tip number 5 is that you will also be a photographer. So a lot of people don't know when we start a jewellery business, we are also becoming photographers. Because in this day and age, it is so important that we have beautiful photographs of our jewellery. We need to update them regularly. We need lifestyle images, photographs on models, and product images. Now, of course, we can hire photographers to do some of that, but if you're constantly making new products all the time and uploading them, and especially if you have a fairly low profitability on each piece, we need to be able to take our own pictures. When I first became a jeweller, this was something that upset me a little bit. I wasn't interested in photography and I found it frustrating that I was going to have to try and do this. But once you embrace the creative side of photography, you come to a point where you really enjoy it. I now love taking pictures of my work and it adds variety to my day, and it's just another creative outlet as well as the jewellery making and selling. So hopefully you're going to embrace photography as well as you learn and develop throughout your jewellery business. But if you haven't started yet, then have a go at doing some photo shoots of your jewellery. It is a long path to learn how to make really beautiful photographs, but you can get there fairly quickly with practice and endurance. My top tip number 6 is to get the business bits out the way early. So buy your insurance and set up as a sole trader. Of course, there are lots of different options for business models, but in most cases, jewellers are going to start as a sole trader and continue in that same model. Register with HMRC if you're in the UK, and if you're in a different country, have a look at your country's laws and legislations so that you're able to set up your business and get going. Whilst the business side isn't always so fun, try to think of it as a cohesive brand. That the things that you're doing for your business are fueling the jewellery and the making. So I try not to separate it out as creative making work and business work, but see it as all one business together. Top tip number 7 is to open a separate bank account. It is so worth it when you come to doing your accounts. So if you haven't done this yet, I highly encourage you to do it. It doesn't have to be a business bank account. If you want, you can just set up another personal account, but only use it for your business. So everything going in goes into that account, everything going out goes out of that account. When you come around to doing your accounts, you have all your ins and outgoings in one place. It's so much harder when you have to trawl through your personal statements and select which sections are for your business, which are for yourself, so on and so forth. If you don't like messing around with spreadsheets and finances and all of that, this is a game changer. So do set up your business bank account. It's going to make such a big difference. And as I mentioned, it doesn't even have to be a business one. It can just be a separate personal account that you use just for business. My top tip number 8 is to invest in your branding. So branding is such an important part of running a jewellery business, and it took me a while to really cotton on to this one. But we can have the most beautiful jewellery in the world and the most beautiful images and all of that, but if all of our branding, our logo, our typography, our colours and the look and feel that we put out there doesn't fit in line with that, then it can be very confusing for the customer. It's not aspirational, and sometimes it's just a little bit clunky and ugly. Now, when we're looking at jewellery, we want to be inspired, we want to see something beautiful, and a beautiful, solid brand that has clear, defined guidelines will make such a difference. If you're not a master at branding yourself, get someone else to do it. It can be worth the cost to get it all sorted, have some clear brand guidelines, a professional logo, and all the other elements that you need to make your brand look as beautiful as your jewellery. Top tip number 9 is to always be learning. So this is a life tip as well as a jewellery business tip, but it's so important to keep learning no matter what stage you're at in your business. I know for me, to begin with, I did lots of training, lots of business training for my jewellery business and lots of making skills to become a jeweller. Then as I've moved throughout my career and I've been doing jewellery making for over 10 years now, I've done tons of courses. The years when I've invested in my training, spent time to develop myself in that way, have been the most successful years in my business. So I definitely encourage you to keep doing making courses, keep doing business courses, and just keep learning. Not only will those skills be relevant in your business, but it will also give you a renewed energy and a refreshed attitude towards your business, which is what we need in the hard day-to-day work of pushing forward a new brand. Top tip number 10 is that you have the answers. So I know in this day and age there is so much information out there. There's so many people promising to help you with this and that and how to sell and how to market, and even me with videos encouraging you on. But it's great to listen to those things and to learn and develop. But it's also good to know that you are a resourceful person. You've come this far and you actually have the answers that you need to build your jewellery business. So believe in yourself, know that you can do it. On the tough days, just put one foot in front of the other and you will get there. And I have a cheeky number 11 tip, because I'm not very good at sticking to 10s, which is to sell online, because it's the future. So hopefully you're already selling online, but if you're not, I absolutely encourage you to, because it makes your jewellery business so much easier in terms of being able to sell pieces when you sleep, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If your business is solely based on craft fairs and shops, then you are reliant, first of all, on other people in terms of the craft fairs going ahead, being promoted well, the shops being promoted well too. Also, it's often only at certain times of the year that people are able to access those. Online is 24 hours a day. You can make purchases and build up your community that way. So hopefully those tips have been useful in starting and growing your handmade jewellery business. I would love to connect with you over on social media and carry on this conversation. So do come and find us at Jewellers Academy on Instagram and all the other platforms. And if you would like to grow your jewellery business, I would love to help you with that, which is why I've developed a free downloadable guide on how to grow your jewellery business. Click on the link below to get your copy straight away, and you can get started working on the key areas that you need to move your business to the next level. All right, thank you so much for joining me in the video today, and I hope to see you in another video very soon. Alrighty, bye for now.